All right, let's try this again, shall we? I hope I didn't lose any of you. I hope you stuck with me. You stuck with me for the tough times. What I just realized, or not realized, but yeah, I'm gonna put that note is see why we don't have the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi question mark. But hey, you're notifying me that we're live. I appreciate that. Let me just write a note that say what happened with the Wi-Fi. Thank you everybody who's joining in. Hopefully you just hung out for a little bit while we had those technical difficulties. And the kind of funny thing is this actually worked out a little bit better because I had the spin cycle going on my washing machine, which is literally, within 8 feet of where I'm sitting, and it was a little bit difficult to hear. And now it's a little bit more calm, and hopefully, I didn't lose anybody. But hey, I am Beth. I'm the Decluttering Life Coach from Destination Declutter. Doesn't matter what my name is. Doesn't even matter. I am here to help you. I'm here to help you for the next hour or so. I'll do a little bit over past 9 o'clock because I was a little bit late with the TikToks. I mean, the Wi-Fi and stuff. But I am here this morning, this gray morning in my kitchen to help you get unstuck and to just allow you some time to think about your clutter. And is the stuff in your house adding to the delight of your life, or is it detracting from the delight of your life? Okay. What do I mean by that? But so I'm looking around my house. I live in a house. I've got stuff around me. And I know that when I was looking around and saying, ugh, oh my gosh, I've got piles of stuff everywhere. I need to do that. I need to do this. I need to do that. It just felt lousy. It felt like ugh. It felt like a weight in my body. It's so funny how you can have a thought and it makes you feel a feeling in your body, right? And what I want to offer is, since I have, through trial and error and decades of experience and some self-coaching and some life coaching, since I have realized how much my stuff in my home affects my life and vice versa, and learned to release the things that no longer serve me, I realize how much better life feels, not just in my home, but everywhere. So I'm here to help you feel the same way, okay? So if you have questions about clutter, if you're stuck, I want to offer, please put them in the comments. I'll answer your questions. Good morning, Jen. Nice to see you. Excuse me. I'm going to, there we go. Take a little sip of the tips, little PG tips. And yeah, for the next hour, what do you need help with that I can help you with as far as clutter and stuff? And here's what I want to suggest is, usually when I'm in my office, I will point to a pin in a map to say, you are here. If you think about it right now, today, you are here at a certain point in your life. You're here on a certain point in the calendar. You're here and you did things or didn't do things that got you to where you are today. Good, bad, that's all part of the soup, right? And what I want to offer is, if you have things that are going right in your life, things that you love, awesome, yay. Remember those things, savor those things, appreciate them, gratitude journal that stuff, Jay. But what I want to suggest is, if you have areas of your life that aren't feeling so great, think about what that is. Think about that feeling, that situation, and then here's the first step in changing it, is translate it into what its opposite is. This is something I had kind of fun with a couple of my coaching clients, my one-on-one. I do one-on-one coaching with people via Zoom. And yesterday, I had a bunch of clients, and one of the things we played with was this thought of thinking of learning a new language. And this new language is kind of like opposite language. I don't know. I gotta think of a better way with it. But if you're cluttered, right? If you feel cluttered and heavy, the opposite would be, I want to be uncluttered. I want to be decluttered and feel light. So what I want to offer is, don't just wallow in the negative, but use that information that your brain is giving you as a springboard to what you want your life to look and feel like. If you're feeling overwhelmed, I'm thinking the opposite of overwhelmed is kind of in control, where instead of I'm out of control, I don't know what to do, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't want to start. it's like you feel in control so that you can move forward in the right direction, right? Yeah. Okay. Carla says, my mail gets piled on our table. Irish Pink Milo, hello again. Sorry, we had a Wi-Fi thingy going on. But I'm back. I'm trying to be happy where I am, but I live in Texas. Yeah, some states are easier to live in for people than others. But let's start with the table of mail. So, Carla, what I want to ask you, like if we were doing a coaching session, or you were on, like I do a Zoom, I do a monthly Zoom with the people on my Destination Decluttered email mailing list. And so, if we were on this, I'd be like, okay. So, what I would ask you, because I used to be a corporate, like I ended up being a process engineer, which really works for my brain, but I didn't like the corporate environment at all. And I would say to you, how does the mail get there? What are the steps that happen before the mail gets piled on the table? And can you change those steps? Can you change your habits? And the answer is yes, you can. Do you want to is another thing. The other thing too is if it gets piled there, how big does the pile get? You know, is it there for just a day and then you have a habit where you open your mail and you kind of process it? You know, you throw away the envelopes and you recycle whatever needs to be recycled, and then you do the needful, as we would say in the corporate world. You know, do the needful with your stuff. You know, so get curious, everybody, not just Carla. Everybody, get curious about. Take the drama out of decluttering and get curious. Get curious about what your habits are that get you cluttered. Because when you are curious and you're looking, how did I get here? You know, David Byrne, Talking Heads, Gen X and all that. What I want to offer is when you get curious, you give yourself an opportunity to look at things in a different way. You say, yeah, why is it this way? When do I let things pile up and they get overwhelming? You know? It goes in the office to die. Oh, talk about dramatic words, right? And I kid because it's just, you know, what we think of these things so dramatically when really it's the mail gets, you know, I put the mail in the office and I never go back to process it, right? So do you want your mail to die? Like, here's the interesting thing with all of your habits, if they work for you, if you're getting the result you want from your habits, like, and I would be pointing to, like, does it make you feel good when they, you know, and my thought is that maybe it doesn't. So you want your mail to live. You don't want to be getting in trouble with paying your bills late. You don't want to be missing important things that you needed to act upon. So how can you, with love and compassion and curiosity, say, I'm doing something that's getting me in this situation with my clutter. What could I do differently to change that, you know? And then you come up with some ideas, you try it out, it works. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about when I do coaching is that I'm there with you and my brain is always in problem solving mode. I don't look for problems, but if there's a problem, I'll solve it, right? That's how my brain goes. And I love it because it feels so much better when there aren't problems and problems are easily and quickly solved in a way that you get what you want. Okay. So Shelly says, okay, but husband has so many hobbies. He's always leaving it in the living room. I give up. Okay. So much like Shelly, much like I just said earlier, notice this is going to be a recurring theme, is curiosity and compassion and new perspective is don't start out judgy about your husband. Realize that all of us, you, me, everybody, we all have our own stuff story, you know? We all have a way to explain why we do what we do with our mail or not. I'm too tired. I'm exhausted. I want to have it in front of me in case I forget about it. We all have our stories in our head about why we do the things we do with our clutter. And what I want to offer is just as a thought to think of, like here, every time I offer, I'm like, here's something to just, pick it up if you want, is your husband has a story about his hobbies and leaving him in the living room and not cleaning up. Not that you should clean up for him, but I would get curious to say, hey, I just saw this woman on TikTok. Use the fact that I showed up as like a good excuse to start the conversation with curiosity and compassion and love. Say, why, I'm just curious, why do you never pick up your stuff? Or frame it in a nice way that you'll start a conversation versus being accusing. The other thing too is it's really hard to change ourselves. It's almost impossible to change somebody else, you know? So think about areas where you may leave stuff out, like where none of us are all perfect, but start that conversation with him and get curious, okay? Okay. Irish Pink Milo says, time-wise for me, it gets off my mail table every quarter or so. Wow. Okay. Well, again, here's the beauty of it. If that works for you, if you can go through your mail, all your mail, just once a quarter and there's no detrimental effects, then you have a system that works. Rock on. Keep on doing it. Don't fix what ain't broke. But if that is jamming you up, if you're missing important things, if you're, I say getting in trouble, but if you're paying late fees, if you are missing deadlines, if you are tardy in your correspondence, then you might want to examine changing your habit. Now, it's all up to you. I can't do it for you, and nor should I want to, because it's got to come from you to understand that changing your habits is something you're doing to make your life easier, to make your life better, to make money because you're not paying money in late fees or something, right? So, and I see that Dora the Cat Whisperer says she relates, so there's that. And Dora's saying, okay, a rented storage area, purging right now, freedom, rock on, lady, rock on. I love doing, this is the great thing about when I do my my one-on-one coaching with people, is that I get specifics about when people start to declutter with me. They pay for the coaching, right? And inevitably, pretty much almost every single client I've had has either found money or money has come in unexpectedly, or they've discovered gift cards. Somebody literally, this client, we had our last session. I work in 10-week sessions, and we had our last session on Tuesday. And she's like, all right, I was finally ready to tackle my closet, which she had avoided for quite a while. She found a $50 bill in one of her purses that she was going to donate. So I love, Dora, that you are no longer going to be renting the storage area, that you feel the freedom, that you're purging, and then you're going to save the money from the storage area. This is a crazy thing. So when I do one-on-one coaching, I always start with a conversation with somebody. I call it my consultation. And it's basically so we see if we get along. You want to work with me, I want to work with you. If what you're struggling with is what I can help with. And one of the things that is really cool about that is I go through different areas of your life to see where your clutter is affecting it. And you would be surprised about how many people, you may be wasting money. You may be spending money because of your clutter. Spending money on a storage unit, spending money on duplicates of things that you can't find, so it's easier to go buy another thing. Money on late fees because you can't find your bills. Things like that. So, yeah. There we go. Okay, here we go. I'm just looking at these. I love everybody signing up. Really quick, if you like what you're hearing and you would love to get inspiration and motivation and encouragement, and you can do itness with your clutter and other stuff, please like my TikTok page here. Also, I have a Facebook, Instagram, YouTube page for people that may have clutter that may not be on TikTok. Also, really quickly, if you want to join my Destination Decluttered email mailing list, you can do that at my website, destinationdecluttered.com. You get a free habit tracker you can immediately download and print out, use for the rest of your life. And also you get invited to a monthly Zoom call. This weekend, actually, I will be sending out the monthly email to the client, to the people on my list, letting them know when the Zoom call is. Okay, enough of that. Okay, what about prom dresses and wedding dresses? Oh, yeah, that's kind of, you know what? That can be not as easy as a t-shirt or a sweatshirt, right? That's because a couple of things is that they are sentimental items, and sentimental items are the hardest to, the most energy consuming to process. The other thing is that there was probably an expenditure of money, that kind of sunk cost, as they say in economics. And what I want to offer is, instead of feeling like you're losing money or whatever, remember the good times you had in that dress, or maybe not good times, I don't know, and think about how you passing that dress on to somebody else could allow somebody else that maybe never would have that opportunity to have a wonderful experience in that dress. Say, I had my time, I spent the money, I have the wonderful memories. I will never forget my prom or my wedding, but I don't need the dress to remind me. One thing with wedding dresses too, you might want to see if anybody in your extended family might be interested in it. Who knows? Depending upon when you got married, it could be vintage, it could be cool again. You never know. But if nobody in your immediate circle wants it, then there are places where you can donate it. I've seen actually here on TikTok, people doing really cool things with like upcycling and changing, making older, maybe slightly out of mode wedding dresses slightly more fashionable. And maybe they don't wear it as their wedding dress, but they could wear it as their goodbye dress. There's some really cool inspirations you can get here on TikTok about that. How did you get into this job? Did you create your own website and people reached out to you? I started this job because I grew up in a hot mess of a cluttered home, and I never was taught really how to declutter. I was taught to collect, and then go out and collect more. But then through jobs that I've had through my illustrious Gen X career, I learned skills that when I applied to it, made my home look better on the surface. Now, it wasn't until I honestly got some paid coaching myself and got some life coaching, because I realized that it looked good on the surface, but I was miserable inside. Kind of like when you would look at my house, it would look like nice and neat, but if you opened up a door, it would be like this room was like, there was a room that was all full of crap, and the basement was all full of stuff. So when I realized that I had created a process that helped me get decluttered and stay that way, I wanted to share it with people. And that's how I started. Emails, websites, you got to follow your own path, but it's pretty easy. Mail, it works, and the cats left a pile of paper. Of course they do. I have it to be filed bin. Whatever works for you. If you get the result you want, here's where I may be different from other coaches, because I know what it's like to have a unique brain, like an ADHD inspired brain. I have it in my family. I see it in my clients. And I would never make you adhere to a strict kind of grid system of you must do it this way, kind of cookie cutter. No, I want you to find a system that works for you, for the way your house is set up, for the way your brain is set up, to get the results you want. Now, if what you're doing right now isn't getting you the results, sure, as one-on-one coach, I'd be happy to offer some tips that I've learned that have worked before with other people as a springboard. And then, do they work? Yes, you adopt it. If not, we tweak it until it works for you. We customize the process until it works for you. All right, 2 rooms full of boxes, totes from my parents' home and cottage. I cry when I try to go through it. Of course you do, my dear Elizabeth Amber. You do that because it's sentimental clutter, and it's making you feel a feeling, and crying makes you cry. I would suggest, and I mean this with all kindness and love, allow yourself to cry. I have cried. I will cry. I could probably start crying right now if I started thinking about things, right? But what I want to say is a little bit at a time. So to kind of take the drama out of it and to give it some context, okay? When I coach with 2, I make it really simple. I think of your coaching from where you are cluttered to where you get decluttered as a road trip. I think of everything as a road trip. And during the road trip, there are certain roads you go on. And there are certain levels of clutter. So those coincide. So you think of, there's 3 levels of clutter. You have surface clutter. That's your mail, that's your clothes, that's your laundry, that's your dishes. Then you've got stored clutter. That's the stuff behind doors, doors and drawers. And then you've got sentimental clutter. What I want to offer is sentimental clutter is the stuff that I always leave to last, because it is the stuff that is going to make you feel feelings, and it could take a really long time for you to get through the stuff. So what I want to suggest is allow yourself the time to grieve. Allow yourself the time to feel the feelings. You're going to feel the feelings. And feeling feelings is okay. Because once you get them out, crying is kind of like a gentler version of throwing up. It's your body saying you need to release this pent up whatever. And once you do it, you will end up feeling better, So don't start with your sentimental clutter. Start with the easy stuff, build up your muscle, and then go to the more difficult stuff, knowing that it's going to make you feel feelings, knowing that it's going to your visible results will decrease but you will be processing the stuff. But also realize too, it's going to be, some of it is going to be enjoyable. Not all of it's going to make you cry. You're going to remember some good stories. You're going to laugh at stuff. You're going to say, why did I keep this? You're going to, it's not going to be as painful as you think. But allow yourself to feel the feelings. Feelings only last maybe under 2 minutes. Just let them pass through and then go on. Okay? There you go. 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes several times a day. Tackling one at a time. Yep. Manageable. Yes, exactly. Everybody, if you want to just do this, set the timer on your phone for 20 minutes and say, for this 20 minutes, I'm going to focus in this one room on this one section of clutter. And when the timer goes off, I'm going to give myself a Liz Lemon high five because I did it. I showed up. Then you can choose. Maybe I'm on a roll and you realize it's not so bad. I'm going to keep on going. Or maybe you only had 20 minutes and you got to go do something else, but you got to still congratulate yourself for doing the 20 minutes. You know? Peaceful Dies is saying so many people donate to high schools during prom, costume, jewelry, shoes, all that stuff. See, good ideas out there. If you say this is the wonderful thing is about life and community and connection. When you admit you have a struggle and you say it out loud, there will be help for you. You don't realize it. It may not happen immediately, but there's help out there. Okay? There you go. What do we have there? Oh, all sorts of stuff. Okay. There we go. What sticks with me is you're saying you have more than enough. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Rocket Chick now. You're welcome. Because here is the deal. And for those of you who haven't heard me say this, clutter is an abundance problem. You are lucky. You are lucky to have clutter. Because what that means is you have more than enough. It's not like you have none. You have just exactly what you need. And clutter is the stuff that's more than you need because it's not put away. It's too much, right? So when you have too much, realize how freaking lucky you are. And realize that kind of like when you overeat and you eat too much and then you feel bloaty and puffy and achy, that sometimes too much may seem like a good thing at a time, or when you drink too much or anything too much, you think in theory it's a good thing, but really it just makes you feel crappy. So when you say, I'm not going to have too much because it makes me feel crappy, I'm going to reduce the amount of stuff I have, and knowing that when you remove that stuff from your life because it's too much, it may help somebody who has none at all. You know, you have 10 pairs of pants, somebody has none. You don't wear all 10, you donate 5, suddenly 5 people can wear pairs of pants. You know, look at the fact that you can improve when you can improve your life and the lives of others when you identify what is cluttering up your life and remove it from your life. Okay? There you go. I have a large container of my dad's small things. He passed. How do you turn loose of that? You feel the feelings, you go through it and you say, do I want this item in my life, regardless of whether it belonged to my dad or not? Case in point, my dad passed away 2010. He liked things that he liked. The stuff he liked, I don't like. Doesn't mean I don't love my dad. Doesn't mean I didn't love my dad. But I don't need to keep a duck decoy and a framed print of a dead bird and a hunting rifle to remind myself that I loved my father. I have memories of him, of the things we did. I have memories. I don't need the stuff. So just, maybe this will help you. And I've done a video. I have a few videos on my TikTok page about sentimental or specifically like parental clutter or family clutter, the stuff, the emotional stuff. And what I want to offer is just because you don't want the stuff doesn't mean you didn't love the person, doesn't mean you don't love the person. It just means you don't connect up with the stuff that was important to them. And that is okay. Donating the stuff or selling the stuff or moving that stuff of theirs from your life improves your life, and it doesn't mean you didn't love them. So change that thought. Saying, oh, if I get rid of this, it means I didn't love my dad. No, I am getting rid of this stuff. I am donating this so it will connect up to somebody else who loved this. You know, that's the cool thing about, I know there's other people out in the world that love the stuff my dad did. Me getting it out of my house where it doesn't bring me joy is giving it a better opportunity for it to connect up with the people that do love it. Okay? Good morning, German Maid 95. Nice to see you. I'm all ears, misbehaving. Here I am. I'm talking for at least the next hour, a little bit over an hour because I was slow because we did there was a little Wi-Fi thing. Silent generations of boomers love to collect things. They do. And you know why they probably love to collect things? I bet they didn't have a lot when they were growing up. They went through the Great Depression. They were children of people who went through the Great Depression. And they having stuff, they know what it's like kind of on a bare bones level where they had nothing. So having stuff makes them feel safe, gives them meaning to go out and do things, go out and collect things. I know this because I came from a collector family, and I still, like this weekend, I'm going to a vintage Pyrex thing and helping my sister sell stuff that, and I'm still going to go around and look at cool stuff because I collect stuff. But it's true. They did that because they have a certain story about in their head about stuff that makes them feel a certain way and do a certain thing. You know? Oh, I'm a lot like you. If a system is created, don't change it or analyze it how it can work. What I will want to offer is, if the system works, use the system. But if the system doesn't work, break it apart and create a system, a simpler, more efficient, easier system. I think that's why they ended up putting me in, even though I was literally, you guys, I was an art history major. And then I was a graphic designer for a short bit. I've been a whole bunch of things. But when I was in my first and my last corporate 9-to-5 career, you know, they put me in process engineering when I so didn't want to be there, but it was really helpful in hindsight, because that's how my brain worked, is how can we, maybe it's because I'm lazy, but I'm like, how can I make this easier and simpler so I don't have to spend so much time doing the things I don't want to do, right? So that's how I am. That's how I approach coaching. Just so you know, I definitely don't make things too fussy. Like, I see some of the Marie Kondo stuff, and I'm like, well, that may work for you. But to me, if all my underpants are in one corner of my drawer and I can immediately open and find it, I don't need to, like, fold them and alphabetize them and color code my socks, right? Suggestions for storage, suggestions of my double garage. I can barely get one car in there. Yeah, I'm not going to give you suggestions for storage. What I'm going to give you suggestions is go through the stuff that you're storing and ask yourself, why are you storing it? Do you need it? Do you use it? If you use it, make a home for it and use it. If you don't use it, here's a cool thing, and I think I'm gonna do a video about this. Is I was thinking about this yesterday because it came up on a couple of my one-on-one coaching calls. Is when we have stuff in our lives, think about this just from a, kind of pull 10,000 foot view. We have stuff in our lives because at some point, and I'm not talking about the inherited sentimental clutter, okay? That is just different. But in general, when we bring items into our lives, we do that with the hope that it is going to make our lives better, with the hope that we will become the person that this thing represents, and sometimes that works and we do become that person, let me try to think of an example, I brought the camera in my life and suddenly I'm taking pictures, right? But what clutter tends to be is the stuff that we thought was going to work for us and isn't, or doesn't, or hasn't. And what I want to offer is to just think about this. Give yourself the opportunity to become the person you want to be. Mic drop. Give yourself the opportunity to become the person you want to be. And if that person you want to be is a person who was going to use this stuff that you brought in, you said your garage, so I'm thinking bikes. Maybe you bought a bike and you said, I want to be a person who bikes all the time, so you bought the bike. If you're using the bike now, that's not clutter. That's just maybe something that needs a better storage space. But if you bought the bike and you're not using it, ask yourself, give yourself an opportunity, give yourself 6 months and say, okay, I bought this bike. Why am I not biking? And figure out why you're not doing it and problem solve for that and give yourself the opportunity to use the bike and say, okay, maybe if I do it on the weekends, or I'm going to schedule some time on Sunday. And if you do it, great, get into the habit of biking and become that biking person you want. But if you still aren't doing it, that is also okay. Because you gave yourself a chance, and then at a certain level, you're like, I'm not a biking person. Like, I know that about myself. My husband still wants to get bikes, and I'm like, dude, have we biked? And I know myself, I would much rather rent a bike on the occasion that I do. And I like that sometimes when we're on vacation, but I don't want to do it every day. We live on hills and busy streets, and it's not something I want to do. And I'm okay with that. So get okay with who you want. Give yourself an opportunity to be the person you want to be. Okay? Yeah, crying is a gentle version of throwing up. Feel free to embroider that on a pillow, right? Oh, I got a million of them. I have like a pearl necklace of pearls of wisdom, let me tell you. My brain works the same way. What's workflow? How's it working? Yep. Everybody's brain is different. There we go. I am speaking to your soul this morning. Okay, well, you know what? I am glad, and I hope I can say other things that are going to, because here's why I do what I do. This is why I am, as a human being on this planet, taking an hour out of my morning where I could be doing other things, but I know how much it would have meant to me to hear somebody say things that touched me, that I could relate to, and get the encouragement that I could change what wasn't working in my life, as opposed to feeling like it's hopeless and this is just how it is, and maybe next time when I live another life. F that. I spent too many years believing that, and once I believed I could change some of the things or do the things I wanted to do, regardless of whatever anybody else thought, that's when my life really started to be the life I wanted to live my life, okay? Always wonder if I'm lazy, or is it my depression, no motivation to get rid of clutter or even clean. Lazy is an interesting word. It's packed with emotion. It's packed with judgment. And I mean, sometimes I call myself lazy, but what I want to say is, I'm efficient. I want to do the stuff I want to do when I want to do it, and I want to get the results I want. So I would say all of that is probably part of your soup. But don't be judgy. Get curious. Sometimes I get exhausted. Like yesterday I had a bunch of coaching stuff. I did a bunch of things, and I got off my coaching calls early. Not early, but like it wasn't too late. And part of me was like, okay, I probably could do some work, but I was just like, I'm freaking beat, And so I honored that, and I said, you know what? I'm not being lazy. I'm not going to push myself past exhaustion. I'm going to regroup, and I know I feel better in the mornings and I do better. So don't judge yourself. What I want to offer is get curious about what you're thinking when you think you're going to declutter and you're not. Like, are you physically tired and you need to sleep? Or don't see the benefit? You don't see why you're going to do it. Like, I don't know why I'm going to do this. It's just going to pile up again. Like, that's a thought that's going to lead you to be like, screw that. I'm going to go scroll on TikTok, right? But if you say, you know what, if I just chop down a little bit of this at a time, this place is going to look better. It's going to feel better. I don't know. I'll give it a shot. I'll set my timer for 20 minutes like that wacky lady at her kitchen table says and see what happens. You can talk to yourself in different ways. You can demotivate yourself and you can motivate yourself. It's all about what sentences you decide to create and believe in your brain. It is true. All right, what else we have? We got a whole bunch of questions here, and I have zooped past them. It happens. It's not me. It's TikTok. I say, okay, here we go. Let me see what I can do. And if I didn't miss yours, there we go. 20 minutes timer. That's what it means. Setting a timer is making all the difference. See, I give you simple things that work. I make it so freaking simple because I don't like things to be complicated. As soon as things start to be too complicated, my eyes roll back and I'm like, yeah, nice. Have fun with that. I'm not spending my time. But 20 minutes. I set my 20-minute timer when I go out for my morning walks. So I ensure that I get out there for a nice 40 minutes. 20 minutes out, wherever I am, 20 minutes hits. I'm like, oh, hit the halfway mark. Now it's time to go home, right? I think the hard part for me is the timer goes off and I feel that I still have to finish. Interesting. Okay. No. This is when you reset your brain. That's just a thought you have, Amber. It's just a thought that you have that says, I need to finish. You will never be finished. How's that? You will never be finished. You will always be doing some sort of decluttering in your home for the rest of your life. And I don't say that to overwhelm you. I say that to release you from the fact of feeling like you're being finished. Now, I would say what you could do is you could set your timer for 15 minutes and say when the 15-minute timer goes off, I know I have 5 minutes to tidy up. You won't be done, but at least you will have neatened up what you started, okay? So that could be a thing. But perfection and finishing certain things are just other roadblocks you're setting in your way to make you not start, okay? There we go. Part of the ADHD struggle, so true. I love it. User 1830 says, Amber Page, one day it will be finished and it will be amazing. 20 minutes works. I loved it. Somebody finally got their car in the garage. That's so awesome. What I didn't need. See, everybody, you're not alone. We are not alone in this. All of us are on the road. We're all on a journey. And all of us are on the path that we are on and the road we are on. Some people are ahead and they're closer to their getting decluttered. Some people are behind you. Some are worse. But know that there's help and you are right there. Okay? There you go. Churches near you accept the clothes to people for free. I love it too. Oh, Susan says, good morning. I have been working on my clutter and wanted to say thank you. Some days are easier. Yeah, some girls' mothers are bigger than other girls' mothers, people. Sometimes there are easy days and sometimes they're not so easy days. But when they're easy, appreciate them. And when they're not so easy, know that it doesn't last. Okay? Just treat yourself with kindness up here and you will feel better here. And then when you do that, you're going to be more than likely to do the things that are going to get you living the life you want to live, okay? Beating yourself up doesn't work, okay? Okay. Putting their value in the banks where they couldn't touch it. Still have some trouble with my mom's stuff, so I'm going to leave it on the side till I'm ready. Exactly, Susan. What I want to say is that's the sentimental clutter, and that's why when I coach, I start with surface, stored, and sentimental. And when we're on that kind of metaphorical road trip, if I was in my office, you see it often in my videos in the background, I have a pinpoint and a little dotted line and a pinpoint. And the sentimental clutter is always the stuff that I say, leave for less. Don't not deal with it. And don't build it up to be more stressful than you think. You might open the box and be like, oh, this is what I was afraid of. I was afraid of feeling feelings. And here it is, a couple of dish rags and a cracked bowl. You know, feel the feelings. It's okay. Everybody feel your feelings. Feel them. Allow them to pass through you. Allow them to go through you and then move on feeling better because you've done it. We are not robots. We are not zombies, okay? And as humans, we are lucky enough to feel feelings. The good, the bad, you know, the facts of life. Oh my God, I am just riffing today. I crack myself up. Someone posted a mid-sized jar that holds beloved trinkets for people who have passed. Yeah, actually, my sister, who is going to be visiting me today, she's coming down to do this vintage show in Havre de Grace, Maryland, on Saturday. She's the one who gave me the big jar. I was at her house a couple of weeks ago for Easter, and she said, hey, I have an idea, because she and I both grew up in a cluttered home. She said, this is how I have solved for my little trinkets, is I put them all in a jar, and this is my jar, this is Jack's jar, this is Madeline's jar, and everybody has a place where those little kind of tchotchkes can all be, where you can see them, but it only takes up one space, you know? Clothing in multiple sizes are my nemesis. Big black nemesis. Parthenogenesis. I love the dramatic language. It's my nemesis. And I kid because isn't it interesting how we talk about our clothing and clutter? And basically what you have, this is how I love just stripping the drama out of things. I have no time for drama because drama is like an energy waster that you just sit there in drama as opposed to using that energy to move forward. So here's a really thing. I will get to Rocker Chick now. Clothing, I will totally do that. And then how do I deal with paper clutter? Got some videos on that, but I'll talk about it. So here's my take on clothing of different sizes. We probably all have them. And like I said earlier, allow yourself to be the person you want to be. Now, what does that have to do with clutter? Or clothing of different sizes? Well, think about it. Stripping away the drama, look at the facts. Your body is a certain size now. Your body at this size now fits into clothes that you own, because other than that, you'd be naked, right? You also seem to have clothing in your collection of clothing that your current body does not fit in, because those clothes are a different size than your body. Too big, too small, not comfortable, not fitting in them. So if you are struggling to get rid of those clothes or to donate them somewhere where somebody of that size could wear them, there may be a thought in your head saying, someday I am going to get my body aligned with the size of those clothes that I currently can't fit in. That's cool if you want to do it. It's your life. Don't you forget, give yourself that opportunity. So what I want to say is, in the meantime, you're not currently that person, and that's okay, but you're jamming up who you are right now if you're digging through all the clothes of different sizes. So what I offer, and this works really well, is kind of stages of removing things, is putting them in kind of limbo. So what I mean by that is all the clothing of a certain size that you currently don't fit in, pack it away in a tote, put a painter's label, put some painter's tape, put a label on it with the date and the size, and then give yourself the opportunity to be the person you want to be, to say, I am going to do the things I want to do and have to do in order to get my body to be that size again. That's why I'm saving these clothes with the hope that I'm going to be doing the size. Be that size. Then you do the things. Now, if you decide at a certain point that you don't want to do those things, that's cool too. Who cares? Just a decision. And what I want to offer is when you say, you know what, it's too much of an effort, it's too much of a burden in my life to do the things to make me that other size. I'm cool with who I am now. Then you've already packed up all those clothes that don't fit you. You can immediately transfer those to bags and donate them someplace. And in the meantime, you have access to the clothes you're wearing and fitting in right now. Okay? So that is multiple size clothes. And that's stripping the nemesis drama out of it. You know, rock or chick now. Give yourself the opportunity to get your body into that shape that it was and when it fit into that clothes. And if you do it, rock on. And if you don't, rock on. Doesn't matter. It all matters what feels good to you. I know it because I've got stuff in my collection that I thought I was going to get myself smaller. And I'm going to try it a little bit. I'm experimenting with things because I want to do it for the right reasons. And I want to do it in a way that I don't feel like I'm getting into lack and anger. I will admit, I grew up in a family of dieting and body image issues. So I'm struggling with my own clothing thing. But what I know is when I start to love myself, I am the biggest I've ever been right now in my life. But I also love myself more than I've ever been. Now, that isn't to say I don't want to feel better, in my clothing or my skin. But that's another thing. So just love yourself, who you are now. And you don't wait to love yourself until you're a smaller size, okay? How do you deal with paper clutter? A little bit at a time. Okay, so paper clutter usually ends up being like so many messages. Maybe I'll stick around a little bit more this morning. Paper clutter typically is a backlog of paper that hasn't been dealt with. So what I say is give yourself some time and get all that paperwork and categorize it. Categories, name of. So what are your categories of paper? They typically fall into certain categories. They are going to be, here's some that yours might be slightly different, but bills that I need to pay. Bills that I have, like statements from bills I did pay that I might want to file. Paper that looks important, but I probably won't read it, but I feel like I should save anyway. You know, those things from your credit card statements or your, dental stuff or whatever. Like, what are your categories? Then, morning. Then when you do your categories, you can make a decision to say, well, I gotta pay these bills, pay them. Do you want to save the statements after you've paid the bills? If you do, save them however you want. I honestly say put them in one big box labeled 2023, and if you ever have to look at it again, you know it's in that box. And then when the year passes, with the exception of the stuff that you would save for your taxes, you can, put that stuff in a shredder, But categorizing your paperwork, having a plan for that category, and then not allowing it to build up, to use that category thing on a daily basis will keep the clutter, the paper clutter, okay? Need so much help from my well-educated sister whose husband has Alzheimer's and is physically declining. Oh, that sucks. That really does. There is help out there. And what I would offer in that situation is there are probably people who are trained in caregivers with people with dementia and Alzheimer's to help the caregivers. That would really help. I'm not saying I can't help, but that is a serious thing that there are people out there that can help with that. Okay? What else do we have here? Excuse me, I'm going to cough for a smidge. Oh, and you may have heard the toilet. My husband has found me on Facebook. Thank you. Yeah, I like to show up. I love hanging out here. I will clue you in, everybody. I'll clue you into this thing. Is when I show up on TikTok, I love it because I have a lot of followers. I love seeing everybody. And it's kind of fun to know that I'm helping a lot of people. When I do my lives on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, all at Destination Decluttered, very few people show up to them. And I'm cool with that because that means when you show up to one of those, you get a lot more one-on-one attention. We can go back and forth about your struggles. So like later today, I'm going to post the schedule for when I'm going to be doing lives this week and the following week because then I'm doing some traveling and I won't be on at all. But what I want to offer is if your question isn't being answered here simply because it scrolls by and I only have a finite amount of time here, is show up at one of those other lives and you can ask your question. I will totally help you and we may be able to get into it even a little bit more, okay? What else do we have here? Oh, so many interesting things, people. Minnesota, nice to see you. Yeah, do the work. You know what? You're doing the work for the right reasons. You want a better life, you know? I always place myself to see the clock when I take an exercise class. Yeah, I kind of do too. I do. I'm overwhelmed and I know it. Clap my hands. Okay. When I want to offer for overwhelm, everybody, overwhelm is just a way of looking at things that says it's too big and I can't deal. What I want you to do, thank you, Karen, for subscribing to my YouTube channel. What I want to offer is overwhelm. Take that overwhelm, pull it down in front of you, and chunk it down into little bits. It's like looking at an entire map from here to California and saying, I know I want to drive to Palm Springs, but you're using like a globe instead of a Google map. You got to look at things smaller. If you're overwhelmed, the solution to being overwhelmed is focusing on what one small thing can I do today to get started. Okay? There you go. What else? And I apologize to anybody whose things, oh, the internal tape can really make an impact. It's everything. Yeah, judging yourself doesn't help. Depression, yep, so true. Okay, what do we have? Okay, thank you, everybody. Oh, so many good things. My in-laws have a 3-bed house, 2 living rooms. Only 1 bedroom and living room is usable due to clutter. Yeah, you know why? Because they get stuff stories. They've got a story in their head that makes them feel a certain way about stuff, and they're keeping the stuff because they have a thought in their head. Now, what I want to offer to this, and I do have a bunch of videos about this because it's so true, is you may not be able to fix them. You may not be able to change them. But if they don't change, you will probably be the people who have to dig out their house once they pass and you're going to sell the house. I'm just being real, right? So what I want to offer is start making a plan that's going to work for your life, you know? Now, I'm not saying, I always say this, I'm not saying go in and like case the joint, but go to their house and be like, do I want any of this coming into my house? And if the answer is yes, get specific about that stuff. But if the answer is like, I don't want any of this, then start making a plan now. What's going to be the plan for when they pass and that house needs to be cleaned out? Having a plan in place, even decades sooner than you need it, will give you peace of mind so you're not reacting to when they do say, oh my gosh, they suddenly died, I got to clean out the house. Having a plan in place helps you have peace of mind that when that time comes, you got this, okay? So I just want to offer that. Yeah, family not on TikTok. How can I share? You can actually share. So here's a couple of things. Actually, thank you. Somebody got you through this. What I want to offer is if they want to see my videos, I'm on Destination Decluttered on Facebook, Destination Decluttered on Instagram, Destination Decluttered on YouTube. Also, the YouTube page, I will often download these TikTok lives and upload them to the YouTube channel because people have told me that they put them on in the background like a podcast and they use it as they are decluttering. It helps to be in the background, okay? And thank you, people, for helping the folks whose things that I'm missing. So I really appreciate this. Yeah. What else do we have? I'm going to do this today after work. Awesome. Rock on with your bad self. Yep, visual timer helps to see how much is left. I find sometimes visual timer is good. What I realized, and this may help you too, is I realized that I thought it would be fun. I had one of those vintage like Lux kitchen timers that goes tick, 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 tick. That ticking stressed me the F out. I felt like I was like playing beat the clock and I did not like that feeling. I like a silent timer and one that I can look at and I say, okay, I have this amount of time. But do what works for you, okay? I have to wash dishes 30 minutes at a time. Yeah. And the more often you do the dishes, you can do dishes in 5 minutes. You know, if you let it pile up, it's going to take longer. The sooner you deal with the dirty dishes, the less amount of time it takes. Okay, what do we got here? Threatening the teenagers. Here's the thing I want to offer. Teenagers, families, decluttering is a life skill. Decluttering is, at the core of it, is saying to yourself, here is a thing. Do I want it in my life or not? Does this thing align with my life or not? And then if the answer is yes, I want it in my life, then you say, where am I going to put it? Where is this thing going to live so it doesn't clutter up my surfaces? And also, when I need to find it, I can find it in a hot minute. And when I coach, I will always, and I will tell this to you too, my philosophy is the decluttering should never fall to one person in the family. Everybody who lives in a communal household needs to participate in the decluttering and the maintenance of the home to the extent that they are capable. Because decluttering is a life skill, and you're not doing your kids any favors by cleaning up after them. Because what you're doing is when you push them out of the nest, when they go off to college or they go get their first apartment, if they don't know how to clean, if they've never learned the skill of tidying up after themselves, they are going to be a cluttered mess. And I bet you don't want that. I mean, the whole reason I can even do clutter coaching is because so many people were not taught how to think and do the things their life. You don't want to pass on that crap to your kids. Get them involved with it. Get them involved and insist that they do it in a gentle but firm and loving way, knowing that you are being a good mama bird or papa bird and saying, I'm doing this for your own good. I know this is going to be grumpy because you're so used to somebody wiping your ass, pardon me, but you know what I mean, cleaning up after yourself. And I know as a parent, like I feel good about it. May be a struggle because they're going to not want to do it. But if you hold fast and insist that they do it and don't lose your cool, you are doing a really good thing as a parent. You're creating a much better human and a much better adult by teaching them these skills, okay? Thank you for the little subscribers. What else do we have here? All right. Yep, what do we go? Somebody's putting things in luggage. Oh, too funny. I have books, actually, some luggage that I didn't use but I still like. I have books stored in it. Works for me. Dish hack can be paper, plates, and bowls as a way to cut back the dish factor when things are too much. That is true, but what I also want to offer is that's kind of a Band-Aid to the solution of your system with dishes doesn't work. And a little bit at a time is the key to everything. That's how you build wealth. That's how you get a strong body, is by doing little small reps and then graduating to bigger ones and showing up every day and working out. So what I want to offer is, instead of putting a Band-Aid on it, instead of like there being a skunk underneath your, what is it, Jen Sincero, like the skunk underneath your porch that smells and then you're just spraying the stuff over it to mask it, what you really need to do is go grab the skunk and get it out of it, and it feels better when you do it, okay? What else do we have? Yep, dating the tote. Yeah, just give yourself the opportunity. Where do I suggest starting? Start with the surface clutter in a room you want to be seeing improvement on. Set your timer for 20 minutes and pick a room. Start with your surface clutter. That's papers, that's laundry, that's dishes, any of the stuff that just kind of accumulates through the everyday act of living in your home. Put it where it needs to be, and you'll see improvements, okay? Yes. Oh, now we get a whole bunch of things. Okay, here we go. I just realized a guilt statement. People expect to see gifts when they visit. You know what? That is a thought. And isn't it interesting to examine your thoughts? And what I want to offer is, first of all, never be the kind of person that gives a gift where you expect to go in and be like, so where's that fruit bowl I gave you? You know, give a gift because that thing that you saw made you think that this person may like it. And much like you do that for yourself, and you buy things you think are going to work out, for gifts, sometimes they work out for other people and sometimes they don't. Allow anybody in that situation to pass along that gift if it doesn't work for them. And do not judge them and don't make them feel guilty. And if somebody tries to do that to you, you don't have to pick up that guilt. You can choose to say, thank you so much for the gift. That was so nice of you thinking of me. It doesn't mean that I don't love you, that I passed it along. It meant it just didn't work for my life. Okay? Okay. Monsters and Misfits just said, we're preparing to put our house on the market. I just rented a storage unit for non-essentials things. And I want to offer is, I give up. I can't. It's okay. You know what? What I want to offer is moving and selling your house is a great opportunity for you to say, what do I want my future home and life to be filled with? In anything that you think doesn't fit that, maybe you can do some decluttering now, but maybe you might overcompensate. But I want to offer, when you get into that house, when everything settles down and you've lived in it for a while, pay attention to the stuff that you brought there from your old house thinking it was going to work and it just didn't. Again, kind of in like that dating of the tote of things. Allow yourself to be the person you thought you were going to be, which was the person who thought all this stuff was going to fit in their house. Give yourself some time to do that. Give yourself 6 months. And then after 6 months, see what you're organically using in your home and see what you're not, and then do another declutter. It will feel so good. Okay? And if it's not essential, yeah, just get curious about that. We need very few things, you know? What do we got here? There you go. Somebody says, I put you on and listen to get my kids ready for school. It gets me motivated. Yeah, every little bit helps, seriously. Yeah, leaving the podcast on is like body doubling. And the thing that I love is that I want you to be inspired, but oh my gosh, like time is so precious. For this exact hour that I've been on right now, you can, I want to say this for next week, when I show up for another TikTok Live, listen and use that time to get yourself decluttered. Sitting here being like, yeah, that sounds good. Yep, makes sense. I get it. Thinking, when you're thinking, you're stinking. A drummer friend of ours has said. But what I mean by that is thinking is one thing, but doing is what makes all the difference. And doing it when your thinking is in alignment with what you want to do, saying, I'm doing this to make my life better. This isn't that difficult. I can do this. I know where to put stuff back. I'm just going to do it because it feels better after I've done it. And it looks better and it feels better. And I want my home and life to look and feel better. It can be as simple as changing your thought to that and then having that be your mantra. Okay? So I am going to stay on for less than 10 minutes right now because I was a little bit late getting on because of Wi-Fi and whatnot. But also, I will also be posting later today when I'm going to show up next week. So look at that. And here's a suggestion is put it on your calendar to say, she's going to show up at these couple of times. I'm going to show up too. I'm going to put it on and I'm going to declutter during that time. And if when I show up live, like I am now, live from New York Saturday night, like when I show up live, if that doesn't work with your schedule, I also record these and put them up on the YouTube channel. Now, if you weren't there, it could sound like a live to you because you weren't there, so it could be brand new to you. It's like a podcast. So if it doesn't work for you, next week, schedule some time where you can declutter, put it on your calendar, put on one of the live recordings that are on my YouTube channel, and body double and have at it. Get inspired. It makes such a difference. Like, this is why I say that life is like a road trip. It's not a commute. When you treat your life like a road trip, it's because you're excited to get where you want to go. And that exciting inspiration is the energy you have through the most of the entire journey. It's not all yippee skippy like the commercials, but when you fall in love with the destination and why you're doing it and where you're going and how what you're doing is going to get you to your house looking better, your life feeling better, all that stuff. That's why I call my coaching Destination Decluttered. Think about your destination. Before you even start, say, why am I doing this? I deserve to live a life that looks and feels better than it does now. That's a mantra all of y'all could use. All of us could. I deserve to live a life that looks and feels better than it does now. And these are the things I'm going to do that are going to get me there. How does that sound? Is that like a little pearl on the pearl necklace of all the pearls of wisdom? Okay. There we go. I like hearing your voice as I declutter. Here's a funny thing, Carol, I got to share. So I was doing something the other day and I heard my voice. Oh my God. What is it? Was it George on Seinfeld? I sound so high and whiny. So here's a funny thing. I don't enjoy hearing my voice, but what I want to encourage is when I show up and do this, okay, I am, and this is going to get kind of deep, but it's really worth it. I am an external representation of the voice you have inside of you. The voice inside of you that says, I can do this. This is easy. It's not going to be as bad as I think. I deserve to live a life that looks and feels like I want it to. You do, but I want to offer that temporarily, sure, have that voice in you, sound like my wacky voice, but hear it after a while, know that you have that voice in you. That's what I call, when I coach about road tripping, is your co-pilot voice. You've got backseat drivers. You've got a backseat driver voice. That's the thoughts that say, you can't do it. It's not worth it. Stop. But you have a co-pilot voice that says, you can do it. Keep on going. It's worth it. And because we're so used to listening to those negative voices that say, stop, don't move forward, don't change, we sometimes don't realize we even have that little whisper of hope and possibility in us. And when you learn, first of all, that it exists and you learn to listen for it and act upon what they do, that's when your life starts to change miraculously, so much for the better. And when you learn how to, through coaching, to calm down, to quiet your backseat driver voices so that your co-pilot voice has an opportunity to speak up, and you actually cultivate that, that's that opposite thing we talked about, is pretty much there's always going to be an opposite to your negative thought that you could translate it into, and that's your co-pilot thought. That's the part, that's the thought that's going to get you encouraged. It's going to give you courage to do the things that you know are going to make a positive difference in your life. Okay? So your co-pilot voice, some people call it God, some people call it your soul, some people call it source, some people call it Maurice, I don't know, right? But you have that voice in you. Don't believe the negative voices. Listen to them because they're giving you evidence of what's up here that's making you feel something, that's making you not move forward to the life you love. When you listen to them and you translate that and you see where they're coming from, it quiets them down. You'll never eliminate them, but you'll be like, aha, there's something going on here. Let me figure it out. Okay, there we go. What do we got going here? Oh, there we go. Rosie Simmons says, I listened to your live recordings on YouTube last night and finally cleaned up my closet. Awesome. Oh, Denise Diane, I am wonderful. You are wonderful. Thank you for sharing. I am changing lives. God bless you. Well, thank you very much. I am trying to change lives that want to be changed because I know how much of a difference it makes and how much better it feels. We're not going for perfect. We're going for better. And better feels freaking awesome. Okay? And yeah, thank you, Steve Miller. I am always riffing. This is my Gen X personality. Every time I say something, it's going to remind me of a song I heard on the radio. Okay? So that's just how I roll. And I will say that this is how I also coach. I am not a formal coach. I show up very informally. I make it fun. I make it fun for you. You know, I do this because I want to enjoy the coaching process. I want it to be like on a road trip. I want us to kid around and get work done. I want us to, when you're laughing and when you're having fun, your brain is open to hearing things versus somebody saying, all right, remember this. Why didn't you do that? Rah, rah, rah. That doesn't work, okay? So I like to make it fun. I like to make it playful. You know, I'm always like, sometimes when I'm doing it, I'm like, I look like a freaking Muppet. You know what I mean? I'm like, just having fun with it. Because you should have fun in your life. You can learn things. You can make progress in your life. It doesn't have to be torturous. It can be easy. It can feel easy. And when it feels easy, don't you want to just show up more to do it? You know, it's like, this isn't bad. This is actually kind of fun. I'm seeing before and after pictures. You know what I mean? So do this. Okay, on Monday I have 4 rooms to paint, so decluttering will begin. All right, toots or toots. Not sure how you pronounce it, but I got a whole bunch of videos here on TikTok. You can put them on, you know, I don't know if you can do like an autoplay where they just go one to another, or go over to my YouTube channel and there's a bunch of TikTok lives that I've posted up there. Like, here's the thing. When you hear encouraging words and you're like, yeah, I could do this, then suddenly you feel better, you think better, you feel better, you do better, okay? Do you physically go to help people declutter too? Nope. Because what I've learned is that I could declutter for you, but I am not changing your mind. If I can't change your mind, then no one will. If the decluttering, the magic of decluttering and the magic of what I do doesn't start with what's moved from my hands. Of course, I could go to your house and declutter it, but you know what I would be doing? Every single item, I'd be like, what's this? What do you want to do with it? Where does it go? What's this? What do you want to do with it? Where does it go? What's this? What do you want to do with it? Where does it go? How freaking annoying is that, huh? You'd be paying me big bucks. If I came to your house, I mean, literally, yes. If you want to pay me $10,000 for 5 days of Monday through Friday work for 6 hours a day, and business and travel and living expenses, sure, you get that kind of money, I'll come to your house. But if you want to do it yourself and change your mind and realize that once you learn how to say to yourself, what is this thing? Do I want it? Where does it go? You can do that with other areas of your life too, right? So I love doing what I'm doing. It is so much better for you and for me to teach you how to fish than to provide you with the fish, okay? One more. My husband is basically a hoarder. How can I organize and get rid of things without him knowing? Shelly, I'm going to be honest. I do not recommend that. What I say is if he is truly a hoarder, then hoarding is an official diagnosis in the DSM. What are we up to now? 5? Yeah. And there are trained mental health professionals out there that can help your husband if he is a true hoarder. That is a condition. That is a traumatic-inspired mental condition. Probably a really bad thing if you want to damage your relationship, honestly, with your husband, is to sneak the things out without him knowing, because you think they're not going to do it. You think he's not going to notice, and the one thing you throw away, he's going to be like, where's that shoe? It happened to me with my mother. Oh my God. Whatever. It's not a good scene. So what I want to offer is get him the help he needs, and then work on your own stuff. Work on your own clutter, and maybe just try to lead by example and have compassion and love for the fact that your husband is struggling with something mentally that is manifesting itself physically in your home, but get him the help he needs. That is above my pay grade. I don't want to promise somebody who is struggling with mental health issues. It would be against all of what I believe in. But please know that there is help out there, okay? So, get your ADHD. I help people with ADHD. Get somebody to help you move the heavy stuff. Yep. If you have too many hobbies and crafts, there are only too many if you're not doing them. If you love them and do them, then that's who you are. Rock on with your bad self. Lead by example and organize your stuff. Yep, exactly. Every little bit helps. You know, my husband's mom, that to him, and dysexiosis. Yeah, nobody likes to feel like something's done at them, right? Can you imagine how if somebody came in and just decided what was, oh, I thought that was crappy. I threw away that thing that you really cared about. Oh, I would harbor that resentment in the harbor of resentment, right? Where my boat is docked. Okay. But seriously, I'm glad I've helped everybody. Again, Destination Decluttered. A couple of takeaways, please, just to know there's help out there on different levels, right? So if you could like my TikTok page, what that will allow you to do is you will be notified when I go live. I also go live. I also post when I'm going live. If you want to be invited to the one-on-one, or not, it's not on one-on-one. One-on-one is coaching. If you want one-on-one coaching with me, if you think it's fun, it will be a benefit to your life for 10 weeks of you and me meeting one-on-one on Zoom to all we do is solve your problems. You, it's all about you. I love it. Giving yourself time to become the person you want to be. You start that with hopping onto my website and scheduling a consultation. I will say I'm doing some traveling in the next few weeks, so my consultation times are limited. When I return, they will open up again. But maybe you just want to experiment with, what would a little bit of coaching through Zoom look like? And what I offer is I have an email mailing list you can get onto on my website, destinationdecluttered.com. Actually, if you go to my TikTok page, there's a TikTok link. There's a link there with all my links on it. You can sign up for my mailing list. You get you immediately get some cool stuff. You get a habit tracker that you can print out and use for the rest of your life. That's kind of fun. It's like road trip based, really simple, gets you decluttered, and it gives you an opportunity to track good habits. And then the other thing too is you get invited to a once a month group Zoom call with just people on the mailing list. And that gives you an opportunity to ask a question and follow up. And we have a little bit of a convo. And then you also learn that you're not alone. You can learn from other people's questions. And it's a really good thing. Okay. And I really just want to say, is you deserve to live a life that looks and feels the way you want it to. And it is never too late to live the life that looks and feels the way you want it to. Okay? And I feel like that's a really good kind of like mic drop moment. So I'm going to sign off now. Today's Thursday. I'm doing this thing with my sister this weekend. If you're in Havre de Grace, Maryland, I'm going to the Joe Retro Pyrex Fest. I'm going to be wearing a t-shirt that I made that says Destination Decluttered on it. Say hi if you're there. And if not, I will see you next week on TikTok. I will post a video later today telling you when I'm going to be live, and I'll see you then. Okay? Bye.